So, my name is Flink. Sorry, trying to adjust things. This is my Business 200 project. We were assigned to make a product for the class throughout the entire semester. It's a short 7-week class. Sorry, drinking Red Bull, so tired. Rambling. And so I came up with this application service called Let's Get Help. Speaking to my professor, I will put the YouTube link on this slide when I turn it in, which will be in like however long this video is, in like 15 minutes or whatever. Anyways, so Let's Get Help. If it'll do the thing. The click, that's kind of lame. Can't press spacebar. Okay, so let us get you help. That's my slogan. Yes, it's on purpose that it's not on the logo. It's on purpose. Trust me, I did it on purpose. Let us get you help, basically. So let's get into what it is. My service is an online psychiatric help service for apps as well as a website. And possibly, I'm thinking about possibly making a desktop application for any platform, Mac or Windows, whatever. I don't know if there's any others. Anyways, that people can use at work or at school, maybe. Like, because you can get the desktop at school, desktop app. If you can get it at school, you have it at your phone. You can go to the website. You have a desktop app. And an overall easier way to use it rather than going to a website. Which is why I'm trying to make a desktop app more than having a website, but I'm having the website just in case somebody can't get the app or can't get a desktop application. I also want to include self-help exercises that can help people get better on their own so that they don't have to keep using the professional help that we offer. And they can just keep looking at the exercises and the mindfulness, and we'll get more into all of that. I want my app to be more of like, I want this service to be more of like rehabilitation, rehab, I want it to be so that you can start getting better on your own. Like, the professional help is there. You talk to them and they can help you and they can explain to you the self-help exercises and I'm gonna have a digital journal, and they can explain to you mindfulness and things that you can do for yourself to help yourself so that at some point you can stop using it, which seems like a bad tactic, but I think I'm sorry. I have cats, and they're in my room because if I leave them out of my room, they'll meow like crazy, and I don't feel like dealing that I don't feel like dealing with that right now. Rambling. Anyways, continuing. And finally, I want to have a digital journal since experts have said that writing what happens in your day-to-day life can de-stress and reduce anxiety within you. So if you talk about your stressful moment in that moment, you can get all. It's why it's kind of like that thing when we need to get stuff done. We talk to ourselves. It's like, okay, I need to do this, 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 this. It's to help you remind. So writing the digital journal down, you can remember how you felt in that moment and reflect on it. You can see how you can better yourself on it. And so experts, psychological experts, can't speak right now, recommend writing, in a journal, but I thought offering a digital journal in the app will also help more. If you don't feel like writing, you can type it. So, click. Why? Well, why should people care? JAMA Internal Medicine screened more than 46,000 adults for depression and found that 8.4% tested positive for mental illness, but less than 30% of the study participants with depression actually sought treatment. Depression is the leading cause of disability in the U.S. for adults ages 15 to 44, according to the data from the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. Most of those people don't get the help that they want because it costs a lot. It's so much money to see a professional. They can cost $500 on consultations alone and then $100 per hour you see them. And if and that's a lot. If you need to see them for like 5 hours because you're really panicking, that's $500 right there. Like, it's expensive. At some times, they will advise medication, which a lot of people fear. They feel that it'll, mess them up or something, and they're afraid of the medicine. Of course, you don't have to, but that's a lot of the reason why people refuse to go see a doctor, because they don't want to get medication in the end of their discussion with the doctor. Some people can't find the time to go. That's just, going to an office and waiting in the office for a time and then seeing them and spending the time in there. People are busy, they don't have time for that. Another one is some people just have a fear of going. They don't want to see a professional. They're scared of it. They're afraid of what they're going to learn about themselves. They're afraid of just what the doctor's going to tell them. There's a lot of fear in that. And then sometimes it's the opposite. They think, I don't need to see a professional. I'm strong. I can get over this myself, which I'm going to get into in a minute about my experience. So the reason, I'm going to go back and talk about the journal. The reason I know why the journal is a thing is because when I was seeking help, that's what they told me to do. And for the longest time, since I can remember, I've always had bipolar disorder, where I've just, one day, it's not even days, it could be the same day, it could be in an hour, I can be the happiest person to the sad person, suicidal person, it's such a flip. And I finally found on Instagram, which I'll get more into all of that, there was an ad for this thing called BetterHelp, and it was basically an online mental health service where you can talk with a professional and they can help you get through your struggles. And it was really cool, but it was expensive, and it was just really inconvenient because at the time, they didn't have an app. They have an app now. They're like the #1 leading service that's like this right now. But they have an app now. They didn't when I was using it. They didn't have an app. It was just their website. And the website was great on the computers, but if you wanted to talk to them on your phone, it was a mess. Like, it just didn't look the same because websites look different on phones than they do on computers. So it all in all wasn't really that great for me, and it was expensive. I was a college student. I think it was like my second semester at UAT. I said I finally need to get help, and I got this, and it's just a mess. Like, it was just, and it's so expensive, so a poor college student like me who has 2 loans and doesn't work, I can't afford that, so it wasn't right. So I thought, basically on my experience, why I should make this. Oh, spacebar works now. Didn't even realize that. I can take this out of here. Alright, so what do I want to offer? I want to offer professional help through chat, calling, and video calls, so you can text chat them. I didn't really know how to explain that. You know what I mean. This, right here on the screen, you chat with somebody, you text with them, you can call them, and you can video call them. And the video calls will be really cool with breathing exercises. So I'm going to get into my self-help exercises. I've thought about breathing exercises, anxiety and stress exercises. Mindfulness is a big one. Mindfulness is it's a very new concept. Not super new, but it's a new concept that they started working into mental health, where, as you can see here on the right, is being aware of what your brain is doing and being aware of what you're doing at the time, and then learning how to balance all of that stuff. And so I kind of have been using it. So teaching them mindfulness and different mindfulness activities, because mindfulness is just being aware. So you can do coloring books, you can do reading, you can do yoga or meditation. Meditation is going to be some of the exercises that we're going to have as well, because it's a big thing. And then just escape activities, and what I mean by escape activities are people want to just not think about anything for a while, so they read a book or watch a movie. I watch YouTube. That's how I escaped a lot. So just having some escaping activities that you can do. Coloring is one of them, playing video games, even though it sounds vulgar and childish, it actually can really help because it can take you to a whole new world. That's the thing about video games, right? Is that you get to be a whole new person in this whole new world, so it can help you escape for a bit. I want to have a digital journal, like I said, where people can write about their day-to-day or an experience at a time. So like, what if you're having an anxiety attack? You can write about it and it's supposed to soothe you. And then I'm thinking about having more exercises and activities that you have to pay extra for to just kind of, so it's not too cheap. We're going to get into price here in a minute. So, I'll get into more what my competition is doing, but let's just say it's expensive for now. So I'm thinking about $20 to $30 a month, which sounds pricey, but when you see what competitors are doing, it's actually way better. And for some reason, I don't know if they're doing it now, but when I was using BetterHelp, health insurance, they didn't do health insurance. So I'm thinking about doing a health insurance accepted. That is the wrong word. Hold on. Sorry, don't worry about that. Sorry. I'm terrible at spelling and grammar. Drink more Red Bull because I got a lot of mucus in my throat. I'm so sorry that this is such a weird video, especially to my professor. This is just all the videos that I make for class and they go on my YouTube channel. Which is just UAT stuff. It's not even my personal YouTube channel, it's just my UAT stuff. It's just most of them are things that I have to do for class with other people, and other people don't know how not to cuss on camera. So it's a little silly. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna keep up the silly aesthetic because I think it's funny. Anyways, off topic. We're talking about this thing, and I'm upset that I keep going off topic. Be accepted, cover, but anyways. So that's what I'm thinking price-wise. I don't really have an idea for extra plans. You know, extra plans will vary. Health insurance may cover the extra plans if you want to do that. Not really sure about prices overall because it has to be enough that we can pay the professionals that we're using and whatnot. But I think based off of some research and what other people are doing that isn't exactly what I'm doing, so things like Netflix and Hulu, it kind of works. So doing this a month is better than what my competitors are doing by far. And it might just work out. I'm hoping anyways. Aesthetic. So the main focus of the app is so that it calms people. So when you go in, you can instantly feel relief because you're about to get help. So I'm thinking calming colors, like these colors on the right over here. Freaking screen, sorry. And I want to make it too easy to use. Like I said, the BetterHelp on phone was awful to use, so I want the phone to be easy. You know where everything is. It's easy to use. Same with the desktop. You know where everything is. It's easy to use, and same with the website. So everything's easy to use so that we aren't stressing. We don't want to stress out the already stressed out people. Alright, how it's being made. Obvious. To make the product, we're going to need programmers. Obviously, they'll need to make the application for both app stores, Apple iOS and for the Google Play Store for Androids. Make a website, and then make desktop applications that work with every possible platform. Then we'll need artists or designers, whatever you want to call them, who will design how it looks, how it works, UI, and all that stuff. We'll then need, of course, experts. We need the professionals. And my idea there was to get people in college, aiming for people who maybe need to intern or looking for jobs right out of college. The American Psychological Association in 2013 estimated that there are 1.84 billion bachelor graduates. It is the fourth most popular degree in the U.S., with it being 2019, the number could have gone up. So there are a lot of people looking for jobs. We also need professionals to make... So, sorry, I'm just going through this. Let me backtrack. There are a lot of people looking for jobs. So my idea was to get the professionals who were coming out of college, because I know how packed, this is where I got the idea from, how packed and how many people in the psychology major, because I wanted to be a psychologist and I was applying originally for psychology schools, and there was just so many people in them. There's tons of people in them. It's crazy. So my idea is there's so many people coming out and there aren't that many jobs. It's literally just, as you see this computer, as you can see in this picture, this is the job. that most people want, which I think is weird because I think it's so incredibly boring. But this is what people are training to be, and there aren't many jobs because like I said, not a lot of people can afford to go to these things, and just in general, we went over why it's just a mess. But in general, this is what people are studying to become, rather than the experimental psychologist who does psychology experiments and dissects the brain and all that nonsense. So, my hopes is that we can get those people on a cheaper kind of dime who want to help and be a part of this thing right out of college, because they're going to be looking for jobs, obviously. And then, of course, we need the experts to write the exercises, the mindfulness exercises and the breathing exercises, meditation, any exercise that they think of that can help people self-help themselves. And then I'll get into how it's being made with the beta testers in a minute. Legal. Big thing in this type of service because, like I said, there are tons of people doing this. They just aren't doing it the way that I'm doing it, which is the only thing that's important, right? Innovation, right? That's what UAT is all about, and UAT explains that innovation doesn't mean it has to be a brand new stinking idea. It just has to be an idea that you've altered in an innovative way, which is what I've done. Sorry. That was I hit the mic. That probably sounded terrible. I'm sorry. I did that look at me being all smart over here, snooty-like. Sorry. So there's BetterHelp. There's a thing called Talkspace. I'll get into my competitors a little bit more and who they are and what they offer. So I took law last semester, so I remember a little bit about the world of creating your own business and patents. So there are obviously other services that are similar to mine, BetterHelp, Talkspace, Etika, I'll get into it. But I differ with the self-help service, that those apps and other services don't have yet. The other legal matter within this service is medical records. There are several laws regarding medical information, which includes mental health. So we have to, keep a list of people coming in. We have to keep all their medical records, meaning like what their actual issue is and all that. And we have to keep that locked safe because that's their information. And the law says you can't give that out to anybody unless they give you consent and whatnot. So we have to watch out for that. With all that in mind, it is important to have a really good legal team to make plans beforehand for potential legal issues. So my whole thing is get good attorney team, have them make legal plans and inform me about legal issues that could possibly arise, and if one does arise, how we proceed through it. So that's the main thing with legal is just having attorneys, because I'm not a law person at all. It's just important to have people who understand it so that they can help me understand it. Alright, my structure, which is this whole thing. So we've got the top, we've got our president, obviously they manage everything. They're the ones that started it. If this was my business, which obviously it is, this blue line right here, don't know where it came from, can't get rid of it, super annoying. Anyways, would be me. I'd be the president. So then you have your executive assistant, which is basically the president's secretary. Not to be very rude about it, but they do most of the managing, the little decisions, and then big decisions can be made by the president. It's more of like taking load off the president, and they can do some, that kind of thing. So then we have our vice president in finance, and they basically are going to manage the monies. They're going to take care of the whole finance section, make sure everything's running smoothly, and report back to the executive assistant who will report back to the president. So it's all these little lines that obviously. So then we have accounting. Accounting's going to manage the money input and output, keep track of everything. And we have our payroll clerks, which this is messed up. It's supposed to be a little one box out here. This is under this. It's just going to be a little team of accountants who are going to pay everybody. So let's go to our vice president of technology. They just make sure they manage this whole system. They manage this whole brand, make sure everything's running smoothly, and report to the EA, who will report to the president. They will have a help desk. Anybody who's struggling, which is basically anybody who's struggling with the app, the website, or the desktop application, if they have problems with the systems version of it, they talk to them, and they can try to fix them and help them. Systems and network admin are just going to make sure that everything runs smoothly, keep an eye on it, make sure that the system and network runs perfect and the servers aren't down and whatnot and everything's good. Then we have data storage, and they're basically going to be the ones who are going to hold all the medical information and customer information, and somewhat of the psychology data. We'll get into that a little bit more. And all of these people report to their vice president. Vice president, that's what VP stands for. Sorry, I'm tired. I don't think you could tell, but I'm tired. Next we have the vice president of operations, and they're basically HR, kind of. They manage the people that run the service and the product and the business. So their whole thing is to make sure the branch runs smoothly, report. Facilities is the HR part. Anybody in these sections over here have an issue, they report there. Recruitment are the people who hire, which has a little bit to do with the VP and the EA and the president, and they hire pretty much all the people in here and in here. Not this. I left this separate for a reason I'll get into. And then legal issues, which is my legal team. Next we have our vice president of marketing, which they take care of advertising and marketing and make sure that the product gets out there, and they manage this whole branch and report here and they report here. It's all reporting to the people above them in obviousness. I don't think I have to explain that, but I will because I don't want people to be confused. I'm nervous about that. Project manager. That's not the thing. It is project manager. Where am I? Sorry, I am looking at my little cheat sheet here. Where's my VPN? Right here, spread button. They plan for the market. So they get all the market research and they plan for the actual advertisement, and then they run these three sections, which should actually be under hints. And it's all messed up. These are all messed up. It's all messed up. It's fine though, I can explain. We have our content specialists who need to know exactly what the app is about and help the project manager create advertisements for it. Digital marketer is basically the people who are going to be advertising. They're the ones that put out the social media ads, and they run the social media sites, which I'll get into with what I mean by that, but they run the advertisements. And then we have sales, and sales just keeps track of the income of customers and money, and they report to data storage so that all that data can be stored. And they also report to accounting to let them know input sales and customer sales and whatnot. Next we have our vice president of production. Sorry, I am stretching because my back hurts. And they're basically the production team who make the whole thing go and work and whatnot. They make the product. So we have a production manager, and the production manager is that they create the idea for how it's going to look and the idea for just things in general that are in the app, not psychology-wise. That's all in here, sorry. Then we have our planning team, and they plan how they're going to make it. A design team, they're going to design it, and the production team who actually builds it. Next we have our vice president of psychology information. Didn't know what to call this, so that's what I called it. And they are basically going to manage the psychology part of the department. They're going to get all the information and whatnot and report to EA and president. All these people report to the EA who report to the president. Understand? Good. And all these people down here report to their respective vice presidents. So there's a recruiting thing, and it's probably going to be a specialist in the field who can do a screening and hire the proper psychologist. Psychology data is basically going to be the system on the other end, not for the customers, but for the psychologists. You know, the information that they get from their customers, the information that is about them and whatnot, and then that data is going to go here for storage, but they're going to keep this data just for the psychologists to reflect on and use and whatnot. And then, of course, we have our experts who are going to help the people and make exercises. So that's the whole structure. That's how I'm planning to lay this out. So let's move on from that. That was the longest one, I think. We're at 20 minutes. That's really long. Am I going to edit this? Of course not, because I don't have time. I'll let you know, I'll date this. It's Monday, June 24th. on Friday, the 28th, I leave for Hawaii. So I'm trying to get everything done ahead of time, which is why I'm like, yeah, I don't have time to edit this because I have 20 million other things that I have to get done before I am gone for all of next week. So let's get into the marketing plan. So I want to make a prototype for testing and just word spreading. College students, little weird, little silly, YouTubers, and other people with spreadable possibility. I'll get into the whole why I want to get YouTubers to do the trial in the next slide, I think. Might be market launch. I'll talk about it a little bit later. Then we need to spread the word, get the knowledge out there about the services, and I found that the best way to do that nowadays is through social media. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google, and so much more have advertising possibilities that, depending on how much we invest into it, it can be billions of people. This is how I found BetterHelp, like I said earlier. I found an ad on Instagram. And nowadays, people are on social media like crazy. So, they all have advertising capabilities, and you can make business accounts on all of them. They have a special little thing for business account. You can brand it as a business account, and they'll like, at least Instagram does. I don't look into Facebook or Twitter because I have neither of them. YouTube is just the ads that you get before videos, which is, good to have. I think the ads can lead to a YouTube channel if you want them to. And then Google, just whenever you're on Google and you're looking up things, you always get the little ads that are like over here or down here for things. That's Google, people paying Google to put their ads up. So I want to take advantage of that Google thing. Also, when you search things on Google, sometimes you'll get these little things that say what you're looking for, but underneath it'll have this little square box that says AD in it. It's an ad. So I want to do that as well. Because, as I found out, with me, the best way for people nowadays to see products is through social media because they're always on social media. Moving on. Consumer market. Who is this for? This product is basically for everyone. Anyone who needs a little help or has been struggling for a while can use it. The only barrier is if the person doesn't have a device to use it on. But with a website, it makes it a little more accessible. But if they don't have one, it gets a little bit harder for people to use and harder for the product to sell. Now, we'll be unable to help and care for people with Alzheimer's, dementia, schizophrenia, extreme cases, mild cases, because it has to be both, of autism, extreme mild cases of dissociative disorder. Look it up. I'm not going to explain what that is, just look it up. And mild cases of psychosis. And there's probably a lot more that I couldn't find when researching, but those illnesses require someone to fully care and watch them, which we won't be able to provide. It's all online, like I said. So those mental illnesses are actually brain virus, not virus, but, they're actual brain, not illness, but issues. Like, we have body issues, we go see a doctor, you go see an actual doctor, psychologist, neurologist with all of that. So that's not in our field. This is mainly for clinical psychology. This is basically for psychiatric help, which is completely different. Look up the differences. My cats are making noise, don't worry about it. The competition. Let's get into the competition. There are many other competitors that are doing similar services. The main thing is differentiate and leave room for more competition. More competition lies within the self-help services. There's a lot of room for more and design features for this section to expand. Like I said, not a lot of people are doing it, but they easily could, and they could easily find better or ways to do it and have more extras that we don't have, and then we can better ours. Competition is good. Now, what separates us... I already said that. I'm sorry. The next is that most of these doesn't accept life insurance. At least when I was using BetterHelp, it didn't. Like I said earlier, according to the parity law, I don't know how. It's parity law. Insurance policies covering mental health care must treat that care as they do other medical coverage. So it does, but I guess it depends on your insurance, and I didn't even check with BetterHelp, so I don't know. Then finally, the prices. So let me get you into the prices here. This is why we're doing it a little bit better and why I think this product will be a little bit better if we do it monthly, because BetterHelp charges $65 a week to talk to use their service. Talkspace charges $79 a week. Breakthrough, which is teamed with MD Live, charges $140 a week, and Teen Counseling, which is connected to BetterHelp, charges $45 a week. As of June 2019, according to eCounseling reviews. They're expensive. I was paying $68 a week for BetterHelp. I cannot afford that. A week? $68 a week? Do you know how much money that adds up to? Too much. I had to quit. It's too much money. $68 a week? Can't afford it. Might as well go see a professional in an office. Because by the time you reach the month, let me do some quick math here. It's like $200. For a full month, $200. That's a lot of money. They don't have any other plans. I think they have other plans for weekly stuff, which offers more things, but then it's just more a week. Weekly stuff is a lot. So they all charge weekly and at a decent high prices that college students and day-to-day citizens, like, I don't know. I actually can't think off the top of my head. I'm just thinking about the person who sits in a cubicle. Those people, the day-to-day workers who make basic thing runs, credit. I'm thinking of my parents, basically, so basically thinking of my mom, who works for a credit union, and she just sits in an office all day and makes sure that the phone lines work. She's in IT. So those people don't get paid a lot of money. She doesn't get paid a lot of money. She can't afford $68 a week or whatever it is now. Can't afford that. So, but those people easily afford Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon, which charge monthly. And yes, price differences are huge, but it's monthly, and it's just monthly is a little easier for people to afford, and still will bring us profit like those names do, if we get used enough. It's all about making sure that the word gets spread and we actually get people to come, which I think we will. So let's talk about market launch, which is why I think so. To get ready for full market launch, I want to reach out to people with influence to spread the idea. I want to do it with whoever is willing, as well as, and may seem silly, but YouTubers. They actually have a stressful and overloaded job, especially since YouTube changed their algorithm. If you're wondering what that means, go look it up. Many of them talk about it, and many of their subscribers and fan communities struggle with many mental issues. Me as an example. I would go to YouTube channels, this is one of them, for example, to escape. Every time I went there, the videos were funny and they make me happy, and I could escape for a tiny moment. And their communities, I've talked to a lot of people in those communities, talk about how they also struggle and that this YouTube is the only thing that helps them get through it. So reaching out to those YouTubers and them trying it and then them making a video, like asking them to make a video about it, can spread it to those communities, to people who struggle, and then they'll use it. It's kind of like we do the things that are, that famous people do because we idolize them. These are people that get idolized, and a lot, they do a lot of advertisements for companies, and they get a lot of income that way. So I thought that this was one of the best ways to go about that, because that's what happened to me. So, being able to reach out and have the YouTubers try it may help their followers try it as well. With all that, once that has begun, product will launch, and will constantly be putting ads out on social media platforms and making social media accounts so that people can get more information before trying. They can go to the our Instagram page or Twitter or whatever, and they can talk with someone and be like talk with the person running it and be like, tell me more about it, and then we can have like a link and stuff like that, and just some things to explain the product and how people really want it and understand it. I decided this tactic and this whole product idea based on basically me, like I've explained. As I've said, this is where I was, and I feel that this idea could help a lot of people, especially ones who don't want to talk with anyone but have the option for self-help. So I think that this main idea of just going on social media, putting these out here, having this service be available, that more people will use it. I would use mainly the self-help section because I don't like talking about my problems, but giving me exercises that I can do on a daily or on a weekly to help me get over this or to help me manage it would be amazing. Would basically really make a difference in my life. And I think that that's super important, and I think that could make tons of money, potentially, whatnot. Anyways, I will be done. All of my references are on this doc page for my professor and anybody else who cares. I'm pretty sure you could just type that link in. And I'll have this YouTube link on there. But that's basically my idea, and that's basically my final project. Sorry this video was super weird, especially to my professor. If you are watching it. I am just a weird person, and I'm lazy. So, have a very good day, and have a mentally happy month. I don't know. I do recommend trying some of those services. They've changed since I've used them. I can't go back because I can't afford to go back. But if you are struggling, I do recommend BetterHelp. BetterHelp is actually really neat, and there's an app now, so any teens out there, they have a teen counseling app now. So if you're a teenager and you're struggling with depression or stress or anxiety or parents fighting, that's a big thing. Get teen counseling, although it does cost money, but it is there for you if you would like it. Anyways, regardless, thank you for your time and thank you for watching, and my professor, I will put the video link in the I wasn't supposed to cuss, I'm so sorry, in the first slide, and my cat's meowing at me. Goodbye!